The key word, undoubtedly, of these three parshiyot, the opening three of the Book of Bamidbar, Naso, and Behaalotcha, is undoubtedly the word tzava, army. The word appears almost 70 times in these opening 10 chapters, clearly making these chapters all about the army. And what is incredible to see is just how unique the Jewish army was then and how it is today. Because you see first and foremost from the psukim that our army is, from biblical times, a people's army. Every single one of the tribes is emphasized time and time again in all of the parshiyot, that all 12 tribes were represented. And all of them between the age of 20 and 60 had representatives in the army. It was representative of the values of the people and spanned the entire people. This is very distinct from the modes of army we've had throughout history, from either mercenaries, paid mercenaries which came from the outside to fight other people's battles because they were warmongers, or volunteers, where people could come, and certain parts, as many Western countries today have, they have the privilege of having volunteers. Israel doesn't. The Israeli Defense Force today not only has a standing army, but has miluim reservists from all across the board, sons, parents, and sometimes father and grandparents, all having to come together as a people to defend Jewish life and the Jewish way of life. It seems that the word tzava, those who are singled out to serve the people's army, defending the values of the people, have been the Jewish way and the necessity since time immemorial. And hence what is incredible to see is the formation, so much of the preparation as they leave, that they leave Mount Sinai. We see the formation as all 12 tribes in a very particular formation. Each one was called a Degel Machane, Yehuda, etc. Each tribe had their own insignia and flag. Each 4 tribes with their own encampment had their own, and everything was so structured, representing the arrangement and seder and order of a people preparing to defend its life and its way of life. And I want to end and say, the Jewish army has always been such a beacon of morality, and one of the great, I would say, blood libels of today is singling out the Israeli army, the defense, as if Israeli soldiers would, God forbid, shoot in cold blood a journalist. We know that almost 3,000 journalists have died in the last number of decades in war zones. There are no calls for investigations, but one dies, as tragic as it is, in a crossfire, and is pointed out in a blood libel as if Israeli soldiers would do such a thing. Anyone who knows the Israeli army knows that this is not the case. And we hope and pray that just as then, as we gathered at Mount Sinai and bearing the moral and spiritual voice of Sinai, then and today, may the values, the light that Israel is to Israeli society and beyond, continue to shine through, and our tzava seen for the moral and wonderful army that it is. Shabbat Shalom.